wow, this is a very good race, and nobody saw what was coming. Like I said yesterday, it would be a strategic race, but nobody saw Ferrari winning this race. Like I said, I have a gut feeling that it would be Mercedes engine all through. Like I had that same stupid gut feeling. I call it stupid gut feeling last weekend about Mercedes engine. Meanwhile, Verstappen busted one of it. We still had a Mercedes engine 1 and 2, that's McLaren. And this race, we still had a Mercedes engine, which is a McLaren again, 2 and 3. But it was looking like Ferrari were not having that pace. That Mercedes had more pace than Ferrari during the practices. But, well, hell no. Where did Ferrari get that pace from? As in Ferrari, you guys need to submit your data and tell us where you guys got that pace from. That was a blistering pace. That pace was putting McLaren under pressure. Lando Norris was under pressure. Damn. Oscar Piastri point in time was under pressure from Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was into the race from the beginning. See, there's a difference between you being in Italy wanting to win, and that is one thing about Ferrari. And like I've always said, whenever they are in their home race, they are like, we want, oh shit, Ferrari, you guys need to fight for every race. You guys need to fight for every race. Make it like a grand slam. Wow. But what a race from Ferrari today. I was not expecting that race pace. Nobody was expecting that race pace. I'm sure McLaren were not expecting that race pace. Yes, Ferrari brought a lot of upgrades. All the 10 teams brought upgrades, but Ferrari brought a whole lot of upgrades because they've missed out on a lot of upgrades, because their upgrades have given them a downturn. So recently, they've been able to strategize and they came up with beautiful upgrades and it worked. And this is telling us this is not the best of upgrades that they brought, which means the upgrades that we see work might possibly work in the next race. If they optimize it, they have to look around and see how to get more performance out of it, because the upgrade is meant to give you not just performance on a track or track specific. It should be able to give you more performance by the time you keep tuning and keep looking at how it can give you more. But that upgrade was fire. If we're not expecting what we saw in qualifying and we saw a race like this, Ferrari winning with that upgrade, it shows Ferrari knows what they are doing and where they are going, and I'm proud of them. Which means Mercedes, are you guys sure? Well, I can't blame Mercedes all through and through. Mercedes have tried to be consistent the last few races. They just came back from the mid-season and they've had troubles. Now with this race, they've been able to maximize what they can do. Lewis Hamilton being ahead of the 2 Red Bulls, wow, that was massive for him. Coming from 6th to finish 5th, they thought they would be able to be ahead of the Ferrari. I thought Mercedes would be ahead of Ferrari. I knew George Russell would not be able to handle the pace. Certainly, I knew that. George Russell is still full of mistakes. He still has a lot to learn. He's come to be a leader in Mercedes next season. I hope Kimi Antonelli will not be the leader. Yeah, George Russell is a fantastic driver, but he's just a good driver. He's not a world-class driver. I said it yesterday. A lot of people might not agree with me, but I've said it and I'll keep saying it. George Russell is a good driver. He's not a fantastic driver. Alex Albon is a fantastic driver. Take it or leave it. Nico Hülkenberg is a fantastic driver. Lewis Hamilton is a talent of generations. Max Verstappen is a talent of generations. You need to see that. Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, they're in a different leagues. They're in a league of their own. We're talking about Ayrton Senna. We're talking about Michael Schumacher. We are talking about Alan Prost. Those guys are generational talents. With Kimi Antonelli coming in, I think he's also a generational talent. We just need to see him. So these guys are fantastic drivers. So George Russell is just a good driver. To me, he's not a fantastic driver. So the mistakes will still be there. He just needs to push himself to make himself better. That is what I is. And he needs to focus on himself, not focus on his teammate that has won 7 championships. Lewis Hamilton has said that qualifying has not been his best. And I'll say this. Should I blame Lewis Hamilton? No. Since the 2021 championship, there's been a downturn in Mercedes and there's been a downturn in his performance. When you are going to a race and you are sure that you are not sure that the car is going to perform, it's already at weighing, thought-provoking. You're already out of the race before the race even starts. So, for me, those are the things we should look at and see as some of the things that are really affecting Lewis Hamilton's qualification. In races, it comes alive when he sees that the car is performing well. The gap between him and Max Verstappen today was massive. He was able to create gap, though he was unable to overtake him on track, but he was able to overtake him from the pit and did a fantastic job. At the point, Max Verstappen was even afraid of George Russell overtaking him. That is to show that the threshold of the Red Bull's development, I think Red Bull might have hit a blockage of development. And I think this is as a result of people leaving the team. Why are people leaving the team? We are talking about Andre Newey, a lot of the engineers, Jonathan Whitley, and we can see Jonathan Whitley leaving in the way they were able to handle their pit stop today. Oh my God. Red Bull is just getting into a dramatic washout. And this will cause a lot of brain drain when a lot of key engineers are leaving. Peter Wasch is there, a lot of people are still there. But when key figures, important figures are leaving a team, there are things that happens. You know, the people you work with start losing trust. The team starts going down a little and they might hit rock bottom. You know, it's going to be something that at the end of the day, it won't favor them. This guy said at the beginning of the season, Chris Horner, that if people leave, people will come with, they have best engineers. And I said it in a video. You guys don't think you have best engineers. When key figures leave, how will you be able to handle it? How will you be able to keep the balance? And that is what is exactly happening this year. I see Max Verstappen leaving for Mercedes next season, joining Mercedes 2026, partnering with Kimi Andrea Antonelli. I'm telling you, because there's no guarantee that Red Bull will come out fighting next year. There's still a guarantee that Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes will come out next year and fighting. But there's no guarantee that Red Bull will come out next year fighting, because they started ahead. Now they are hitting the rock bottom of development. And where do they go next year? Should they go back to RB19 and start developing RB19? That is it. Or they scatter the whole RB20 and start looking at it, or go a different direction. It's just painful for me to see Red Bull not in the competition again, because McLaren is clearly the team to beat. Now, Ferrari with their pace today is going to be hot. And Mercedes is also coming up with setup. They are going to bring upgrades, certainly, because when you think your upgrades are better, you might bring some upgrades that would, like the upgrades they brought in Belgium that they quickly removed. Now they brought the same upgrade back in Netherlands and the upgrade didn't work. And they're still working with the same upgrade. Like Red Bull and Ferrari for some time, is going to be a drop for them. It's not certain that they'll be able to move forward with those upgrades. They have a week of rest. In 2 weeks' time, there'll be another reason in Baku, Azerbaijan. So there should be something different coming up. But I think at this point, Mercedes should look at what they are doing. And for them to be in this competition, it's not certain that Mercedes, they are far back, can win drivers or constructors championship. But there's still hope for McLaren and there's still hope for Ferrari. Ferrari might be chasing Red Bull down to take on the second. They have hope. If they can win and also be ahead of Red Bull in the remaining races of the season consistently, they might be clinch the second position. Yeah, if Red Bull does not improve, even Williams are fast, they can get ahead of Red Bull, and that will be a big disaster for Red Bull this season. It's getting to a disaster. It might be a big disaster for them. Now, let's go back to the race. The race started, Lando Norris doing his thing again. He started good this time, but getting to the turn one, Piastri really made a good block for him, in which we first saw another mistake from George Russell. He ran too much, knowing that turn one we can only take one car. How does he want to take on two cars? Piastri blocked him down, giving a good block for his teammate Lando Norris that will spin on the second turn. That was where the race started collapsing for George Russell, going from second grid, that is from third to seventh, and his race just started ending there. Broke his front wing, and that was it. And for Lando Norris, had a wheel spin on turn two. His teammate was able to close him down, and from there Oscar Piastri overtook him, and the race became Oscar Piastri's race. Lando Norris made a lot of mistakes today. The undercut was the best strategy today, and grading on Ferrari was much, but Ferrari were able to manage their grading and manage their pace today. They were able to do one stop. But on the McLaren, I thought the grading on the tires was better, but it was huge. They had huge grading, and that affected their race. And Mercedes, they had a lot of grading. I knew the heat would affect Mercedes certainly, but I didn't know it would affect Red Bull also. So all these teams, they suffered grading. But immediately, Oscar Piastri was able to overtake Lando Norris. I knew it was almost the beginning of the end for Lando Norris. He could not come back into the race, and simply the end of the race for him. He struggled, made a lot of mistakes. The team made mistakes in his pit stops. Also, Oscar Piastri did his thing. The Ferrari had a strategy. They were able to work with it, at least get one of the cars to win the race, and the other coming in fourth was a good thing for them. If they had like 6 more laps, maybe Lewis Hamilton could have overtaken Carlos Sainz, and certainly George Russell would have overtaken Max Verstappen. But it is damage control for Mercedes, damage control for Red Bull, and they were able to manage the race with Charles Leclerc winning the race, Oscar Piastri second, Lando Norris third, also clinching the fastest lap of the race with that same tire, which is good for him. Carlos Sainz fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, coming from sixth to fifth. It's a good thing for Lewis Hamilton. He has always pushed forward, but like he himself said, there is no way he could have overtaken the Ferrari because they had a fast car today. Max Verstappen coming in from 7th to 6th, took one position, which is good, and that position every one of them took was from George Russell, coming from from third, ending the race 7th, George Russell. He was able to do a good job against Sergio Perez, overtook Sergio Perez, that came 8th. But this is showing that these top 4 teams are just in it, and Red Bull is already falling behind the top 3 now. Mercedes should be in 3 now, and McLaren clearly 1, Ferrari 2, and this might keep changing to races. When we get to Baku, it might be a different thing entirely. We don't know. But like I was saying, George Russell destroyed his own race from the beginning of the race. Now, to someone like Nico Hülkenberg, he had a collision with Daniel Ricciardo, which gave Daniel Ricciardo a 10-second penalty. Daniel Ricciardo was unable to serve his 10-second penalty very well. He was given another 10-second penalty. Now, Nico Hülkenberg himself got a 10-second penalty with, should I say, his entanglement with Yuki Tsunoda, ramp into Yuki Tsunoda, ended Yuki Tsunoda's race. That was the only DNF of the race, but that destroyed Yuki Tsunoda's race totally, and that also gave Nico Hülkenberg a 10-second penalty, which served very well. Kevin Magnussen, his teammate, also got a penalty. That's a 5-second penalty, lots of collision. Major battle in this race was between George Russell and Sergio Perez. They had a good battle. Other battles were behind, especially between Kevin Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas, Alex Albon, Alonso Stroll. They had their own battles, but the most enjoyed battle, the sweetest battle of it all, was between George Russell and Sergio Perez. And we also had the battle of the top, Charles Leclerc hunting down Piastri, in which Piastri was able to ward him off, and Charles Leclerc also against Lando Norris. Lando Norris made a lot of mistakes, like I said, but was able to ward him off. But now I think McLaren also need to look at their pit stops. They made some few mistakes in their pit stop, but Ferrari did a good job today. Fantastic job for Ferrari. I'm coming to Ferrari. Also, Red Bull, like I said, Jonathan Whitley going is already affecting their pit stop. The engineering is already affected with Andrea Newey. I think I dropped a video about Andrea Newey. I'll check my folder. If it's not there, I'll make a new video about Andrea Newey, his impact in F1 and his impact leaving Red Bull. Red Bull seems to be already going to be in problem, because they're already looking as if they're in problem already. But certainly going to Baku will be a different thing entirely, a different beast entirely in Baku. We don't know who has the pace yet, but with the development coming in pipeline for Mercedes, Ferrari, and also McLaren, they are bringing more developments. They don't just want to stay where they are, because they know other teams like Mercedes and Ferrari are pushing up, while Red Bull is not relenting. They want to know where their problem is and try to find solution to it. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting 8 races towards the end of the season that we're going to see, and the fight will be till the end of the season for us to see who wins the championship, especially who wins the Constructors' Championship. But now I think it's 9 points between Red Bull and McLaren. How do we measure this? We have to look at how McLaren have closed up, and if they win the next race or they are ahead of the 2 Red Bulls the next race, certainly the Constructors' Championship, they are going to be ahead of Red Bull, which means Red Bull winning Constructors' Championship this season is over, and to me it's already over. They only need to focus on the Drivers' Championship and see how they can be scraping points, or like they did today when Max Verstappen knew the only way to destroy Lando Norris's tire, to make him not have the opportunity to close up to his teammates, maybe they might exchange their track position, was to hold him up. He did that for like 2 laps, and that was it. He destroyed his tires for those 2 laps, which almost cost Lando Norris his 3rd position, and that is a bad race for Lando Norris, coming from 1st or pole position to end the race in 3rd position, losing 2 places. Oh no, Lando Norris needs to work on himself. He needs to work on his starting and how to maintain his race pace. I think he needs to work on that. Oscar Piastri is doing a very good job. He's a small boy with a huge and big heart, looking forward to great things. Now, breaking news is Oliver Biermann would be racing for Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen will be banned for 1 or 2 races because he has exceeded his penalty points. He might not be racing in Baku. Oliver Biermann will be racing for him. He's coming in next season into F1 for us. So racing like he did for Carlos Sainz at the beginning of the season in Saudi Arabia. A thing of joy for him to race in F1 again for us. He's already ramping up experience as regards his teammate Kimi Andrea Antonelli that is coming to Mercedes next season. I'm not sure he'll be able to race in F1 this season, but coming in next season will be a good thing for him. Oliver Biermann will be racing for Kevin Magnussen in Azerbaijan Baku. Looking at the positions, aside from Charles Leclerc doing a great thing in this race, for Norris, it is a big question to ask himself. Russia 2021 is tied pole position. Carlos Sainz won the race. Brazil 2023 sprint race is tied pole position. Verstappen won. China 2024 sprint race, he started pole position. Hamilton led. Spain, same thing, started pole, Russell led. Hungary started pole, Piastri led. 3 out of 4 races back to back, he started pole position, and he needs to look at himself. He needs to weigh himself. He doesn't need to weigh himself, he just needs to look at himself and tell himself, is he doing a good job? But for me, I think the Ferrari in this race, winning their home race for the Tifosi is a great thing for them. For Charles Leclerc is a great thing for him. And congratulations to Charles Leclerc. Congratulations to Ferrari. Fred Vasseur of congratulations. His hard work is paying off, though they still have a long way to go, especially to prepare for next year, because next year is going to be a title race, a big deal for them. And I hope Lewis Hamilton will be able to take his best down there after all the emotions, the backdrop in Mercedes. If he can awaken himself, and I believe that is the reason why he's going to Ferrari, to reawaken himself, to have a car that he can push, knowing that this is a car that he does not know. Let him see how he can push the car and make the best out of the car. Let's see how that works for him. And to Red Bull, it's going to be a whole ask for Red Bull, even for Max Verstappen, waking everybody up towards the end of the race. That is a shitty position, but everybody needs to wake up. They need to look for a way to make sure he even come in and end the race in 6th position. It shows the position in which Red Bull are. They've gone down. For Red Bull, like Max Verstappen said, it's up to the team to make changes to the car. The car is undrivable for him, but if they're not making changes, you know what will happen. Like I said, he's going to move to Mercedes, 100%. End of next year, I'm sure he's going to move to Mercedes, because I'm not sure the direction in which Red Bull are going to. And if the direction certainly does not move them up the ladder, he's going to move away. And that is bye-bye to the championship and to next year possibly. And in the last 3 races, we have had 3 different winners. Belgium Spa, we have Lewis Hamilton. Holland, the Dutch Grand Prix. In Netherlands, Lando Norris. Now, Monza, Italy, we have Charles Leclerc. It shows Formula 1 is getting better again. This kind of competition is what we want to see. Not just, like I've always said, a straight race, a straight win for just a team. And it looks very, very uncompetitive. But now we're having more competition. Everybody putting their best, putting everything they have into it. And it can only get better. And next year, I wish Formula 1 gets better, and I wish Red Bull well, and they can get back into racing and see how they can do their best. But we have more analysis coming in. I'm going to break down McLaren for you, break down Ferrari for you, and also Mercedes, how they are doing. And also, I will have to break down Red Bull, where they are going down, because it's already looking shitty for them. Certainly, Williams coming up. They are doing a good job. They might be coming up, featuring in championship, because that's where they want to be, especially in 2026. They still maintain their Mercedes engine. They still believe it can give them the best out of it. But congratulations again to the Ferrari. Congratulations to Charles Leclerc. A big one for McLaren, and I know they will all gel up, but like I said earlier, McLaren needs to work on the strategies. It's still like a baby team now, just coming up, because they really lacked winnings for the past time. So coming up will be a better team for them, and I see possibility of them coming in next year with Ferrari and with Mercedes, doing great things. But up until the next video, the next podcast, I love you guys. And in Baku, expect the unexpected, expect the unexpected, underrated, expect something smashing and great. And don't count any of the top 4 teams out. Anything can happen. This is F1. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.